just want to thank you for coming. I want to congratulate you for coming, because in investing to come along today and learn these tax secrets, I think you effectively are saying that you're in that tiny proportion of the population that wants to invest in their financial education, their financial future. So what I want to do is just a few minutes on why we're all wealth managers now and why it matters. If you look at me, you'll see my sort of thinning grey hair, you'll see my lined and wrinkled face. I have been around the block a few times, and I think the most important financial lesson I've learned in that time is it ain't what you make that matters, it's what you keep. And there are all sorts of forces that will try to separate you from the money that you make, and the history books are full of pop singers, football players, lottery winners, and business owners who've made a fortune and lost a lot. Mainly through a lack of financial education and mainly through not getting the right advice from the right people. So if you have any sort of income or assets, you might as well paint a great big target on your chest, because HMRC are coming after you. I don't know if you're aware of it, but what they call Tax Freedom Day is now May the 29th. From the 1st of January to the end of May, everything we earn basically goes to HMRC in one way or another. It won't be long before we're working the majority of the year for the taxman. A comment that George Osborne made in his budget speech this year, I think, is typical of the approach they're now taking. He said, "Tax evasion and aggressive avoidance are morally repugnant." Now, Tim's going to pick up on this a bit more later, but what he's trying to say there is illegal tax evasion and legal tax avoidance are the same thing. I was amazed that our Prime Minister thought it was okay to step out of a G8 conference in Mexico and comment on the personal tax affairs of a stand-up comedian. Sometimes I think, maybe if David Cameron and Jimmy Carr swapped jobs, we'd actually be better off. So you'll see the manipulated inflation figures that talk about 2 or 3%. I don't know about you, but my costs have certainly been going up a lot more than 2 or 3%. If something gets too high, they simply take it out of the measurement. So it's not the CPI, it's the CP lie. If you've ever watched Little Britain, the Marjorie character on there is only a slight exaggeration. It always amazes me how many of us will take slimming advice from fat people, but equally how many will take financial advice from poor people. And you could spend your whole life contributing to a DC pension, then a month before you want to retire, there's another 1929 Wall Street crash, and you could lose 30, 50, 70% of your savings overnight. The conclusion I've come to from that is that nobody cares about my family's financial future as much as I do. They've all got their own agenda, and I am not at the top of their agenda. So my only choice has been to take personal ownership, to invest in my own financial education, and to learn from the people who are doing it well already, and then to start building up my own confidence and applying that into my own situation. But I believe there's some sort of financial meltdown coming at some point. No country in history has ever been able to honestly repay this amount of debt. It is important to have a wealth plan, and preferably a written down wealth plan. I'm kind of pro-business, free enterprise, personal responsibility. I'm anti-big government, nanny states, compensation cultures, entitlement cultures, and most of all, I think, political correctness. I look for extraordinary investments that you don't find on the high street. I do my own due diligence on them. I meet the management teams. I look at the whole sort of trading record and the investment performance. If I like it, I put my own money into it, and at that point, I tell my readers about it through things like the Wealth Watch newsletter, through special reports, seminars, events like this, and so on.